The launch of iSpace's first moonlander, HAKUTO-R, has been postponed by SpaceX. For the second time in less than 2 weeks, SpaceX has postponed a Falcon 9 launch indefinitely after discovering apparent problems with the rocket less than a day before liftoff. The misfortune of Japanese startup iSpace is also the 8th time in less than 2 months that SpaceX has delayed or aborted a Falcon 9 launch less than 24 hours before liftoff for unspecified technical reasons. Welcome to Tech Heaven, and in this video we'll take a look at why SpaceX delayed the second Falcon 9 launch in 2 weeks. SpaceX is expected to return a Falcon 9 rocket to its Cape Canaveral hangar for troubleshooting, delaying the planned launch of a Japanese commercial moonlander for an unspecified period of time. The reason for the rocket's grounding was not disclosed by SpaceX. The 229-foot-tall Falcon 9 rocket was scheduled to launch this week with a privately developed moonlander owned by the Tokyo-based company iSpace. The streak of delays comes after a year of record-breaking execution, in which SpaceX successfully completed 60 orbital launches with only a handful of last-minute technical delays. The number of last-minute delays and Falcon 9 launch aborts has skyrocketed in recent months, possibly indicating that a single issue or change is at least partially to blame. The streak began in early October and lasted until the end of November, resulting in 8 delays over the course of 2 months, with impacts ranging from minutes to days or even weeks. With the exception of one case, SpaceX's only explanation was a lack of time for data reviews or checkouts of the rocket, its payload, or both. SpaceX consistently announces launch delays on Twitter, making it possible to track when the company has stated that it is standing down from a launch attempt or now targeting a later launch date due to technical issues. SpaceX announced only 3 technical delays after publicly scheduling a launch between March 2021 and October 2022, 1 last-second abort and 2 minor additional checkouts delays. To compound the strangeness, SpaceX reported at least 15 similar delays between January 2020 and March 2021. The frequency of technical issues should decrease as a component organization gains experience with the operation of a complex new system. That appeared to be the pattern SpaceX was following. A significant decrease in the number of technical launch aborts, while the pace of Falcon 9 launches reached new heights. However, in the last 2 months, the frequency of technical delays has increased from near zero to higher than at any other point in recent SpaceX history. It's impossible to tell if there is an invisible thread connecting the recent string of delays without context. Workforce fatigue, management changes, policy changes, and factory issues are all possible explanations. It's even possible that the apparent sudden onset was caused by an intentional shift in risk posture, such as an increasing sensitivity to off-nominal signals that were previously observed but discounted enough to avoid launch delays. By the way, if you're watching us for the first time, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can enjoy our future videos while getting updated. Getting back to the topic, SpaceX may have changed things too much or removed too many steps as part of its ongoing effort to improve existing systems and processes. While unlikely, the recent increase in delays could simply be a coincidence. Regardless, if the current trend continues, it will be difficult for SpaceX to increase its launch cadence any further, especially in relation to CEO Elon Musk's stated goal of 100 launches in 2023. Delays also increase launch costs and disrupt customer plans, incentivizing a quicker return to smoother operations. Worryingly, a recent pair of unrelated launches have been postponed indefinitely. Starlink 2-4, which was originally scheduled to launch on November the 18th, has yet to receive a new launch date after SpaceX allegedly discovered problems following a Falcon 9 static fire test on November the 17th. After further inspections of the launch vehicle and data review, SpaceX has postponed a second Falcon 9 launch, Japanese startup iSpace's first moon landing attempt, indefinitely. Finally, launch delays are an inevitable part of spaceflight, and it is preferable to keep a rocket on the ground if there is any doubt about its readiness for flight. Nonetheless, significant changes in the frequency of delays are still notable, especially given that SpaceX typically does not explain the cause of delays for non-NASA missions. SpaceX has several more Falcon 9 launches confirmed for December. It's unclear how the indefinite delays of Starlink 2-4 and HAKUTO-R will affect those upcoming launches. Starlink 437, for example, was supposed to launch from the same pad as HAKUTO-R on December the 6th, but that date will be pushed back by 1 day for every day HAKUTO-R is delayed. A SpaceX ship tasked with recovering HAKUTO-R Falcon 9's fairings appears to be returning to port, indicating a 2 or 3 day delay. Perhaps more importantly, iSpace has the potential to be the first company in history to successfully land a privately developed spacecraft on the moon. It would be a milestone that could herald the beginning of a new era of lunar exploration. The first HAKUTO-R moonlander from iSpace is expected to weigh around 1,050 kilograms at launch and be capable of landing up to 30 kilograms of cargo on the lunar surface. Several commercial partners collaborated to create the lander. Although iSpace provided the majority of its design and structures, Europe's Ariane Group supplied all of the HAKUTO-R's engines, plumbing, and propulsion hardware, as well as overseeing the majority of the final assembly process. Because of Ariane Group's involvement, HAKUTO-R is likely to be a direct descendant of the European service module that is currently powering NASA's Orion spacecraft on its first mission to the moon. It also arguably makes the mission more of a European-Japanese collaboration rather than an entirely Japanese mission, though HAKUTO-R will still be Japan's first private mission to the moon. If it is successful, it will be the first privately funded moon landing in history. However, HAKUTO-R does not have the distinction of being the first private moon landing attempt, which was held by Israeli company SpaceIL's ill-fated Bereshit moonlander. Bereshit was launched by SpaceX as a rideshare passenger on top of an Indonesian communication satellite and propelled itself all the way from geostationary transfer orbit to lunar orbit in about 6 weeks. A manual command just a minute or so before touchdown inadvertently shut down the spacecraft's propulsion, causing it to hit the moon's surface at 500 km per hour, less than 8% away from a soft landing. Just 5 months later, in September 2019, India's first independently developed moonlander came even closer to a successful landing, losing control at a velocity of 210 km per hour and an altitude of 330 meters. Only China's National Space Agency has successfully landed on the moon since the Soviet Union's Luna 26 mission in 1976, with 3 landings between 2013 and 2020. In 1972, the last successful Western moon landing occurred. Bereshit's next major milestone will be its arrival at SpaceX's Florida launch site, where it will be attached to PSN-6. The ultimate goal of iSpace is to assist in the development of infrastructure capable of supporting a population of 1,000 people on the moon by 2040. Since its inception in 2010, the Japanese startup has raised $210 million in private funding. It was awarded a $73 million NASA contract in 2022 to develop a much larger Series 2 vehicle capable of sending 500 kilograms to the lunar surface or up to 2,000 kilograms to lunar orbit. Series 2 will be developed by iSpace's US subsidiary rather than its Japanese headquarters. In addition to HAKUTO-R, SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket will launch as a rideshare payload for NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory's Lunar Flash Flight Ice Surveyor. After launch, Lunar Flashlight will attempt to enter an elliptical lunar orbit and illuminate the surface of craters that have been in shadow for millions of years with an infrared laser. The way the surface reflects laser light will allow the spacecraft to prospect for water ice deposits that could be mined and converted into rocket propellant in the future. And with that being said, it's time to end our video, but before that, would like to know, what are your thoughts about the upcoming Falcon 9 launch? Let us know in the comments. Like this video and make sure to subscribe to the channel for more amazing videos like this. We'll see you in the next video.